Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is a channel with a host. And today we're going to talk about the Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-19 history. Before we start, I would like to invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell so that you won't miss any new videos. And if you have some free time, I would also recommend you to watch other videos of this channel. Maybe there you will find something interesting for yourself. And now let's get started. Mikoyan-Gurevich was a Soviet aircraft design bureau that produced many famous planes during the Cold War era. One of their most famous designs was the MiG-19, a supersonic jet fighter that was developed in the late 1940s and early 1950s. Let's take a look at its full history. Development. After World War II, the Soviet Air Force wanted a new fighter that could fly faster than the speed of sound. At that time, only one aircraft in the world had achieved this feat, the British Gloster Meteor. But the Soviets wanted to make their own supersonic plane. They believed that it would help them catch up with the West in terms of technology and also deter any possible future aggression. So they organized a competition among their best aircraft designers to create a new fighter that could break the sound barrier. One of the competitors was a team led by Artem Mikoyan and Mikhail Gurevich, who were two brothers and engineers. They had worked together since World War II when they designed the MiG-3 and 15. Two successful fighters for the Red Air Force. This time they came up with a bold and innovative idea. They wanted to make a swept-wing jet fighter that could fly at Mach 2 or higher. This was a risky project because no swept-wing fighter had flown before, and nobody knew how it would perform. But Mikoyan and Gurevich were confident that their design would work, and they were right. Their fighter, which was called the MiG-19, made its first flight on December 28, 1947. With test pilot Sergei Yanokin at the controls. It was powered by a single turbojet engine that produced 8,000 pounds of thrust and had a maximum speed of Mach 1.6. This made it the first supersonic fighter in the world. The MiG-19 was a sleek and stylish plane with a long nose, thin wings, and a single tail fin. It was made mostly of metal and had a red star painted on its fuselage. It looked like a spaceship from the future, and it was actually very similar to the American F-100 Sabre, which was another competitor in the competition. But the MiG-19 was faster and more maneuverable than the Sabre, and it won the competition, its production and service. After the successful test flight, the MiG-19 went into production in 1948. It was built at the Novosibirsk Aviation Plant No. 224 and later at the Kazan Aviation Plant No. 165. Many Soviet pilots who saw the MiG-19 for the first time were impressed by its beauty and performance. They called it the Scarlet Sails because of its red color and graceful lines. But not all of them were so lucky to fly it because the MiG-19 was a very demanding plane. It needed a special type of fuel, a lot of maintenance, and a skilled pilot to handle it. Only a few squadrons of elite pilots were allowed to fly the MiG-19, and they were stationed near Moscow to protect the capital from any possible air raids. The MiG-19 saw its first combat action in 1950 during the Korean War. The Soviet pilots who flew the MiG-19 in Korea were part of a secret mission. They were not supposed to be there because the US and the UN did not recognize the Soviet participation in the conflict. They were there to test their new planes and weapons against the Americans and their allies. The Korean War was a chance for the Soviet pilots to show what their planes could do, and they took advantage of it. They flew many air battles against the American and UN fighters such as the F-86 Sabre, the F-80 Shooting Star, and the F-9F Panther. They used their superior speed and maneuverability to outturn and outclimb their opponents, and they shot down many of them. The Soviet pilots also tested new tactics and techniques for dogfighting at high altitudes and high speeds. They learned that the MiG-19 was a formidable opponent at those altitudes, but it was vulnerable to missiles at lower altitudes. After the Korean War, the MiG-19 continued to serve in the Soviet Air Force until the 1960s. It was upgraded with new engines, new weapons, and new electronics. For example, the MiG-19s were equipped with new rocket-propelled air-to-air missiles called Ni-24, which could reach targets at night, at high altitudes and in bad weather. These missiles made the MiG-19 even more deadly, and they also extended its range and its accuracy. But despite these upgrades, the MiG-19 was outdated by the 1960s. It could not compete with the new American fighters such as the F-100 4-star fighter or the F-105 Thunderchef, which were faster, more powerful, and more sophisticated. So the MiG-19 was retired from the front line, and it became a trainer and a drone director for the newer fighters. Design and specifications. The MiG-19 was an advanced and complex aircraft for its time. It had many features that made it unique and efficient. One of them was its wing design. The MiG-19 had swept wings which were angled at 45 degrees. This gave it two advantages. First, it reduced the drag at supersonic speeds, which allowed the MiG-19 to reach Mach 2 or higher without overheating or losing altitude. Second, it increased the lift at low speeds, which allowed the MiG-19 to take off and land smoothly without skidding or stalling. This was a revolutionary feature because all previous fighters had straight wings, which limited their performance. The MiG-19 was also very maneuverable thanks to its wings, could turn very quickly and easily recover from sharp dives. It also had a very light control system, which made it very responsive and agile. Another important feature of the MiG-19 was its engine. It had a single turbojet engine that produced 8,000 pounds of thrust. This was a powerful engine for its time, and it gave the MiG-19 most of its speed and power. The engine was also very reliable and fuel efficient, which made the MiG-19 very practical and useful. It also had a large intake and exhaust nozzle that helped it accelerate rapidly. The MiG-19 was also very fast, and it could reach a top speed of Mach 2.2, or 2,600 miles per hour at 62,000 feet. This made it the fastest fighter in the world when it was introduced, and it remained at the top of the speed charts for several years. It could also climb very fast and reach its service ceiling of 63,000 feet in less than 5 minutes. This made it very difficult for enemy fighters to escape or intercept it. The MiG-19 was also very small and light for a fighter. It had a length of 43 feet and a wingspan of 32 feet. It also had a very low empty weight of 9,500 pounds and a gross weight of 13,000 pounds. This made it very nimble and handy, but it also made it very fragile and delicate. It needed very careful handling and maintenance to avoid damage or accidents. The MiG-19 was also very simple and basic for a fighter. It had no fancy gadgets or gizmos that would have complicated its design and operation. It had a very simple cockpit with basic instruments and controls. It also had a very simple armament with only one 23mm cannon and no bombs or missiles. This made it very easy to use and maintain, but it also made it very vulnerable to enemy fire. Legacy. The MiG-19 was a very influential aircraft that left a lasting legacy on the aviation industry. It was the first supersonic fighter in the world, and it inspired many other countries to follow suit. It also paved the way for the development of more advanced Soviet fighters such as the MiG-21, which was an improved version of the MiG-19. The MiG-19 also had an impact on the design and development of civilian airliners. Its wing design, for example, was used in many commercial jets that needed to fly at high speeds and altitudes. The MiG-19 also had a cultural impact on Soviet society. It was a symbol of power, pride, and progress for the Soviets, and it captured the imagination of many people. Many artists and writers wrote about the MiG-19, and many children dreamed of becoming pilots who flew the MiG-19. Conclusion: the Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-19 was a remarkable achievement of Soviet aviation engineering and design. It was a supersonic jet fighter that pushed the boundaries of speed and maneuverability, and it played a significant role in the history of aviation in the Cold War era. From its inception in the late 1940s to its retirement in the 1960s, the MiG-19 was a marvel of technology that captivated the minds of pilots and spectators alike. With its sleek design, powerful engine, and advanced features, the MiG-19 was a true icon of its time. It was the first plane to break the sound barrier, and it paved the way for future generations of supersonic fighters. It was also a symbol of the rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, and it played a part in shaping the global balance of power. Today, the MiG-19 is remembered as a legendary aircraft that left a lasting legacy on the aviation industry and popular culture. If you like this video and want to see more videos like this, then please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.